As I mentioned, this is the so-called 12th day of Christmas, though I forget what happens on that day. I think it's 12 Lords are leaping, but I'm not quite clear. But in many cultures, this is the day of celebration. This is the day of gift giving. This is the big day. For us, it's Christmas Day. Many cultures, it's so-called Little Christmas, or this great feast of the Epiphany. Epiphany, of course, a term that means the showing forth. There have been some difficulties this year with the Nativity. I was told, and I've told some of you, that there is no nativity scene in Washington, D.C. on public lands. That's not because of a decision of the Supreme Court. It's because they couldn't find... Shame on you. A showing forth, revealing who is this Christ and what does he mean? What's the significance of him? The lesson today is particularly strong and made very clear both in the gospel and in the letter of Paul and in the first reading, and that is Jesus came for everybody. No exceptions. He didn't come for Jews only. He didn't come for the chosen people of Israel only. He came for everybody. We've got a lot of little myths that have been associated with these magi. What are they? Well, today we'd call them astrologers. Pretty much what they were. There's nothing in the scriptures that says there's three of them. Somebody just came up with three. And we even named them, right? Balthazar, Melchior, and Caspar. And one of them is African American, one of them is black. None of those things are in the scriptures. A lot of things we've associated with this. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh, those are the references to the Old Testament. The great wealth of the nations laid at the foot of a child in a manger, a poor, insignificant nobody. That's God's way. But salvation that child brought is for everyone. So from the very foundation of the scriptures, and this was a big point of contention in the early church, there was no place for prejudice of any kind, divisions of any kind, not on the base of ethnicity or on the base of race or on the base of wealth or on the base of position or on any other basis that one wants to have, age, sex. There is no division. Jesus came equally for all and is available equally to all. As I say, that many of you are already aware of this, but the early church had a problem with, we would say, the conservative crowd in Jerusalem and the more liberal crowd out with Paul. The conservative crowd says, you want to become a Christian, okay, but you got to become a Jew first. You cannot become a Christian without becoming a Jew, which included little things like adult circumcision, which people were not lining up for. And Paul said, no, that's not it. We are all saved by faith in Christ Jesus. We are not saved by any particular ritual or any particular set of acts, particular temple or any particular location or any particular group. We are saved, everyone, by faith in Christ Jesus. We live by faith, and there is our salvation. We Gentiles are equally blessed, who goes back to the time of Abraham. In our firmaments of our cultures and our worlds, there are many stars out there. There are a lot of stars. Ambitions, goals, casting their light back upon us. Possessions, positions, honor, achievement, security, you name it. A lot of things in our culture, power, that are stars that give a lot of light, that are very attractive, and that some people decide, I'm going to follow one of those stars. Those stars, unfortunately, peter out. They become black holes. Those stars do not ultimately give peace or happiness or joy. But the star that is Jesus Christ, if one lives in the light of that star and seeks always to walk in the light of that star, there is ultimate peace, there is ultimate joy, there is purpose and value that lasts forever. That's our faith. And what our effort is to walk in the light of the star that is Jesus Christ. Not just as an extra in our lives, but that the light of that star casts its light on everything in our lives. All our attitudes, all our actions, all our relationships, all our decisions are made in the light of that star, in the light of that path that is laid out for us in Christ Jesus. Now, none of us do that perfectly, that's absolutely sure. But the Lord not only gives us the light, He also gives us the strength and the healing power and the forgiveness to come and stay in the light that is His star. So we have a decision to make. What star are we going to follow in life? Where are we going to put our values, our goals, our ultimate purpose? Is our faith really a light for everything? Or is it something we kind of have as every American should have one of them? The line that sticks with me from this feast is the last line of the gospel. And that is, the Magi looked at all the different stars and looked at all the different kings and all the different stuff around, and they decided to follow the star of Christ and go home by a different way. We're called to go home by a different way. Not the way of the world, not the way of, if you want, normal goals in life, but the way of the light of Christ. So I encourage you this day, this great feast of the manifestation of Jesus' mercy, let us all seek to go home